From the slime-covered vines of the Upside Down to the towering shadow monsters in the sky, Stranger Things has introduced us to some of the most terrifying creatures in sci-fi history. But what actually are they, and which one is truly the most dangerous? Today, we're breaking down every single monster in the Stranger Things universe to see what makes them tick and how to survive them. Let's start with the one that started it all, the Demogorgon. Standing between 6 and 10 feet tall, this bipedal predator is the adult stage of its species. It's best known for its petal mouth, which opens up like a grotesque flower lined with rows of razor-sharp teeth. Unlike some of the later monsters, the Demogorgon in Season 1 acted largely like a wild animal, a solitary hunter attracted by the scent of blood. It possesses immense strength, durability against gunfire, and the ability to travel between dimensions, making it an apex predator that is nearly impossible to outrun. If the Demogorgon is the lone wolf, the Demodogs are the pack. These are essentially the adolescent stage of the Demogorgon species. Roughly the size of a large dog, they walk on all fours and rely on speed and numbers rather than raw brute strength. While a single Demodog is easier to kill than a full-grown Demogorgon, they are rarely alone. Controlled by the hive mind, they work in perfect synchronization to swarm their prey, as we saw tragically with Bob Newby. They act as the foot soldiers of the Upside Down, overwhelming enemies through sheer ferocity and coordination. Not all monsters in Hawkins are immediately hostile though, at least not at first. D'Artagnan, or Dart, was a unique Demodog discovered by Dustin Henderson in his trash can. Initially resembling a small slug or pollywog, Dart grew rapidly, molting through several stages. Uniquely, Dart formed a temporary bond with Dustin, fueled by a shared love for nougat candy bars. While Dart eventually succumbed to his predatory nature and killed the family cat, he showed a rare moment of resistance against the hive mind in the tunnels, letting Dustin and his friends pass unharmed. You might not think of plants as deadly, but in the Upside Down, the flora is just as deadly as the fauna. The vines are a network of serpentine, tendril-like growths that cover almost every surface of the alternate dimension. They aren't just underground decoration, they're semi-sentient and act as a sensory alarm system for the hive mind. If you step on one, the whole dimension knows you're there. They can also actively grapple and strangle victims, binding them to walls or dragging them away to be used as incubators for other creatures. Looming over almost everything is the Mind Flayer. Often appearing as a gigantic spider-like silhouette of smoke and shadow, this entity is the brain of the Upside Down. It controls the hive mind, meaning it commands the Demodogs, the vines, and the Flayed. It is an ancient cosmic horror composed of silver particles, driven by a desire to conquer and consume other dimensions. While it prefers to act through proxies and possessed hosts, its shadow form is a massive non-corporeal threat that can possess victims by forcing its particles into them. Quick break. This video is sponsored by the Pendragon Cycle, a new fantasy show that has some of the craziest visuals I've ever seen. So let's take a look at the trailer. Right away, the scale hits you. It's called the Pendragon Cycle, and it looks like it was made for the big screen. The sets, the costumes, the atmosphere, everything feels unbelievably authentic, like you've been dropped straight into ancient Britain. And that makes sense, because this series is based on the beloved novels by Stephen R. Lawhead, and it's meant to be the foundation of the entire Arthurian legend. The show follows a young Merlin, before the myth, before Camelot, caught between warring tribes, fading gods, prophecy, and destiny. It mixes massive world building, epic battles, and powerful magic effects with a grounded emotional tone. This isn't the Camelot you know, it's the birth of a civilization, where ancient pagan powers collide with the rise of something new. And yes, the trailer gives us some wild moments, like a stunning reveal of the Lady of the Lake, plus an incredibly cool shot of Excalibur in the stone. If you've been missing true high fantasy, this absolutely scratches that itch. The Pendragon Cycle Rise of the Merlin premieres exclusively on Daily Wire Plus on January 22nd, 2026. Click the link in the description to watch the trailer now, and thanks to the Pendragon Cycle for sponsoring this video. Okay, now back to the video. The Flayed are the tragic victims of the Mind Flayer's possession. These are humans and rats who have been infected by the entity's particles. Initially, they act as spies, gathering information while appearing mostly normal, though they prefer cold temperatures and ingest chemicals to change their internal physiology. Sadly, their fate is sealed the moment they're possessed. Once the Mind Flayer needs raw material, the Flayed are forced to dissolve their own bodies to merge into the larger physical monsters, sacrificing their lives to build the entity's army. Things get truly grotesque with the hospital monster. Unlike the Demogorgon, which is a biological organism native to the Upside Down, this creature was a fleshy construct created in our world. It was formed from the melted remains of the Flayed, humans and rat hosts, dissolved into a sentient goo. This amorphous blob is pure body horror, capable of squeezing through tight spaces and reforming itself. It is essentially a small-scale proxy for the Mind Flayer, driven purely by the command to kill Eleven and her friends. When the hospital monster and other fleshy remains combined, they formed the Spider Monster. The the massive physical avatar of the Mind Flayer in Season 3. This towering beast was a colossal weapon made entirely of melted organic matter. It possessed terrifying strength, enough to flip cars and tear through the roof of the Starcourt Mall. Because it was built from biological material from our world, it could physically interact with the environment in ways the shadow form could not, acting as a brutal tank designed to eliminate the Mind Flayer's enemies. For a long time, we thought the Mind Flayer was at the top of the food chain, but Season 4 introduced us to Vecna. Once the human Henry Creel, or Number 1, he was banished to Dimension X by 11. Twisted by the Dimension's environment, he became a kind of sorcerer who uses psychic connections to curse and kill traumatized teenagers from afar. Vecna is unique because he's intelligent, articulate, and strategic. He isn't just a beast. He is a general who shaped the Mind Flayer into its spider-like form and orchestrated the attacks on Hawkins to open massive gates between worlds. Finally, we have the aerial patrol of the Upside Down, the Demobats. These bat-like creatures possess long, strangling tails and razor-sharp teeth. They swarm the skies of the alternate dimension and serve as the guardians of Vecna's lair at the Creel house. While individually weak, a swarm of Demobats can easily overwhelm a human, stripping flesh from bone in seconds. They are fierce, loyal protectors that ensure no one gets close to Vecna without a fight. From the solitary hunger of the Demogorgon to the calculated cruelty of Vecna, the ecosystem of the Upside Down is terrifyingly diverse. Each monster plays a specific role in the invasion of Hawkins, whether as a spy, a soldier, or a commander. But which one of these creatures would you be most afraid to face? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.